Tuesday afternoon. It's
actually nice
cloudy.
out. It's just
It's
raining.
it's a little bit dreary out today, but that's never going to stop us. The NBA postseason is in full swing, as we're going to continue to talk about that. And then the NFL period is in a very dry time. So we'll try to create some debates that are not based on anything. Usually, we like to talk about things that actually we're talking about it for a reason. Not today. In some of the NFL things, there's no reason why we bring it up. We're just going to talk about it. So here we go. Let's begin with some of the NBA and what is happening and across the NBA. First off, I want to get a grievance out of the way. Nuggets Timberwolves is 2-2 tonight. It might be the biggest game of the NBA season up to this point. It starts at 10:30 at night. Adam Silver, what are we doing? Starting a game at 10:30 at night, which means if you ever watch the NBA, whenever it starts, it's about 15 minutes later when they actually tip.
Yeah.
So 10:30 means 10:45, which means it'll end, 1:10 in the morning. Which West Coast fans and where it's going to be at in Denver,
10:10 is when it ends for them.
It's fine. But the East Coast, there's more people on the East Coast than the rest of the coasts combined. And you look at the East being like, they care way more about basketball just in terms of the history with the Chicago Bulls, Boston Celtics, and whatnot. They only really have the Lakers and the Warriors on that side. So the East has more people. I just don't understand why you wouldn't start games earlier.
So less viewers, less money.
I would, if it was my idea, it would be first game's at 5:30, second game's at 8. That sounds a lot better than the first game being at 8. First game being at 8 and the second game being at 10:30, which is crazy because I guess the NBA doesn't want fans to watch their games. So let's get into the actual.
I just want to ruin their sleep schedule. Watch it.
Let's get into the actual. You bring that up as Adam Silver wants people to wake up, ruin their sleep schedule, which means they will be less productive at work, which means they'll have to hire new people, which means that Adam Silver is destroying the American economy. Wow.
Is he a Russian spy?
Adam Silver, wow, is a Russian spy. He's getting. You know who's pulling the strings?
I knew Silver sounded like Hitler.
You know who's pulling the strings and all that, though, right? Long John Silver's.
What even is a Long John Silver?
Long John Silver's is behind all of this. Their freaking new deal that they
Average
got.
Fish Company.
So let's start with these games. It's into the second round, and listen, I think the NBA playoffs is a lot of dependent on in terms of how good it is.
It's a great time to be alive.
How many game sevens are we going to get out of these 4? Boston's up 3-1, probably not. I mean, Cleveland's not winning back to back. But Indiana, Knicks is 2-2. Thunder, Mavs is 2-2. Nuggets, Wolves is 2-2.
I feel
we could get 3 game sevens. We're getting 3 game sixes at least. Of course.
I feel Pacers and Knicks game 7, Timberwolves Nuggets game 7, and Thunder Mavs go 6.
Okay. I mean, listen. Just because you say it goes 7 doesn't mean it's more competitive, right?
Oh no, obviously not. But the Pacers were blowing out the Knicks by 30, but then it's only a 2-2 series, so it's it's not like the Pacers are dominating every game. It's still a 2-2 series.
A 4-game series could have a smaller point differential than a 7-game series. So
you could get swept, but if you're only losing by 5 points,
the Lakers this year didn't lose by more than 10 against the Nuggets and lost in 5. So let's start with the Thunder and the Mavs. It's 2-2 now, going back to Oklahoma City. But in Game 4, I'm kind of getting tired of this man from Slovenia.
Luka, he kind of missed his free throws.
I'm kind of getting tired of this little man from Slovenia by way of Real Madrid. You want to start playing in the postseason? This whole time I've been defending you, and I've been saying, hey, this is playoff Luka, he'll wake up. And he did not. He has not woken up. He has not played good really at all in these series and these playoffs. Okay,
go back and average what is he averaging in playoffs?
The Mavs have had 10 home 10 playoff games. He shot over 50% twice. And one of those times was about 51%. The other time he shot about 55%. But just let's take a peek at some of these.
So what you're telling me is he's the MVP.
6 of 20 from the field last night.
Yikes.
7 of 17, not good. 11 of 21 in Game 3, and they won. And then 6 of 19 in Game 1. He's put up 22 points or less in 3 or 4 of the series. You cannot have that. And the main reason Dallas went out and got Kyrie Irving, okay, Luka's having a bad night, here comes Kyrie. He had 9 points. So it's a big, you can't have both of them. You can't have both of them suck. And that's been the whole thing for Dallas. Okay, it's fine if one sucks, the other will pick it up. Or
but then if both of them suck,
if both of them suck, it's done. But what's different from early season Mavs? Luka and Kyrie combined for 27. Oh my God, it's over. Right, Mavs lose by 40. They were in it. Thanks to PJ Washington for being the greatest power forward ever. He's averaging something like 25 in this series.
That's insane.
Just coming alive from three. And Dallas has got it 2-2. Oklahoma City's got the home court back, but it's a best-of-3 series. But yeah, Luka Doncic. I just 6 of 20.
You mean the man from Slovenia?
18, 12, and 10. He got a triple-double, which whatever. He's got a triple-double. But at the end of the day, you cannot shoot under 33% from the field in a postseason game and expect to win. Which I said it plenty of times. I said it even last week. Luka shot 5 of 58 in the series against the Clippers from 3. That is so deadly that
5 of 58.
Yeah, he was bad. It's so deadly that you shoot 5 of 58 and you win in 6. That's like, if he can start to score, we're there.
If he can score.
But for the last 4 or 5 games, since the series started, it's been, okay, can he score? Can he score? Can he score? At one point, he's not going to be able to score. And he has not been able to score. And you cannot just wait, he's about to score now. Okay, this is the game. This is the game. This is the game. Because it just doesn't work like that. And Dallas right now is 2-2. Is this more concern for Dallas? Or is this more
leverage?
Is Dallas more concerned that it's tied, or is Oklahoma City more excited that it's tied?
I almost feel like it'd be Luka, or not Luka. The Mavs are. What did you say?
Like concerned that it's tied.
Yeah, I'd feel like because when you carry some momentum, it kind of helps you in the games going on, and then you lose all that momentum, and then you're going to play at OKC.
Yeah, and one of the big
things... I feel like that is not going to help.
We hear about playoff time, and we've seen it. You're a victim to it, unfortunately. These older veteran teams, we often pick above other teams. You pick the Suns over the Wolves, right? These younger teams, okay? You go back a couple years ago when the Lakers played Denver, right? Everybody's picking LA. When the Lakers were playing the Suns, when the Suns were coming. Everybody picked those teams. This year, the Pacers and the Bucks, a lot of people, of course, went with the Bucks because of the experience. Because everybody kind of points to, it's this.
They also have Acapulco, so
Well, they didn't in the series at all, not one game. But it's just kind of a thing a lot of people say and they can't back it up, but experience matters in the postseason. What's the best way to amplify that and make it, experience really matters? Playing on the road in front of a tough crowd. And when you got Oklahoma City, one of the youngest teams in the league, not a starter over 24 years old, inexperienced, this is their first time through the playoffs, basically all of them. Not rookies, but second-year players and third-year players. You need to stress them out on the road, okay? You don't have home court advantage now if you're Dallas. So Oklahoma City's got to go on the road once. While you and Dallas, when we talk about in the playoffs, role players. Playoffs. We talk about role players in the postseason need to step up. Now, they're going into Oklahoma City, which I don't know if you saw. That playoff crowd is electric. They have the little, they have a whole section wearing white, and they have a whole section wearing blue, kind of like the Penn State stripe out. So you now have home court advantage for OKC. And a young, inexperienced team is now having the luxury of playing at home again, right? Which they have not been able to do, for the last 2 games. So you split 2-2, OKC. They're fine with it right now. But I think the concern for Dallas is it goes from, in the beginning, Luka's not scoring, we're fine. Luka ain't scoring. He's not scoring again and again and again. And when Luka's not scoring, Kyrie's not going, okay? And I think every time I've watched the Mavs, when Luka's on, Kyrie starts to get on, okay? Because it's contagious. When Luka's in a slugfest, Kyrie's in a slugfest, okay? It's not picture perfect if it would be, okay, Luka has a great game, Kyrie shrinks, it evens out, right? Kyrie has a great game, Luka shrinks, it evens out. I think when Luka has a great game, Kyrie is able to elevate and almost get to that level and vice versa. The role players for Dallas, right? Why I think Dallas is shaky, they're relying on role players a lot. Relying on Tim Hardaway Jr. and Derek Jones and P.J. Washington and Derek Lively and Gafford. That's not who you want to rely on. Like, you don't want to have a series be 2-2 and be like, man, we need Daniel Gafford to score 14 points. We need P.J. Washington to hit 5 threes, and we might have a chance. So,
I'd say you might have a chance.
Yeah, I'm mighty concerned with Dallas. At the same time, listen, I think this is the best chance they've had to win a championship since 2011 when they won it. Out of all the teams, Boston's better. Denver and Minnesota's better, but Denver and Minnesota, I think it could go to 7 and be close. Boston right now, they're not on the level there. They're not on the level of Boston just yet, and we'll see what happens about that. But does Luka figure it out, or is this just another?
I mean, I sure damn hope so.
Is this just another adding of playoff stars that choke? Is he on there? Because you go back,
man, I don't want him to be like Joel Embiid.
He's second all time on the playoff points per game. Right, so that's why I said Dallas was so dangerous, and I had them going to the NBA Finals, which it's only 2-2. It's not like the sky's falling just yet. Luka right now in the regular season version is great, but we expect elevation come playoff times, not shrinking, and he's playing big minutes too. He's playing huge minutes, over 40 minutes a game in every one of these games. OKC doesn't need their star to be great. They have other players on that team, of course, 14 others, right? Speaking of OKC, I don't know if you saw. Jalen Williams, you know him on the Thunder?
Yeah.
Good, solid player.
Isn't there someone else who has that name too?
Jalen Williams, yeah. But the dark-skinned guy. The better Jalen Williams. Guess his
more athletic.
Guess his rating in 2K.
78.
88.
Oh.
They gave him an 88 overall. He should be like an 82, 83. He's a good player.
Isn't Shea the cover? No. Wait. Who is the cover of NBA 2K25? Wasn't it?
It's not announced yet. It will soon. 2K24 cover is somebody.
Kobe. It's Kobe.
Oh, yeah.
Kobe's number's 24.
He's gotten 3 covers in 7 years.
What?
He got the 2K16 cover because he was retiring. Maybe not 7, but he got the 2K16 cover. He got the 2K20 cover because he died, and he got the 2K24 cover because his number's 24. Like, how about we, I mean, he should get the 2K32 cover because, 32 divided by 4 is 8, and that's what he wore.
Because he averaged 32 in 2007, so, like...
Yeah.
Shea, I think they'll probably give it to Ant.
2K25, we'll have to see.
Ant, Shea...
We'll have to see. Jokic is never winning one.
Yeah, Jokic,
winning one, not winning one.
Jokic is never getting... No, because he's not flashy.
Nobody cares about him.
He'll win and everything, but he's not flashy.
He wasn't even top 15 in jersey sales.
Yeah, he's just not flashy.
He's just, the kids...
Michael Porter would make a cover before Jokic would.
No, he would not. No. Jokic is not flashy, but he's still...
Yeah, he's good, obviously.
Being the best gets you somewhere. Like, it's not just
MVPs that he'll lose the trophy for, but, like...
I don't know. Anyway, let's continue down to...
Cade Cunningham might get it for... No.
Let's spend a little bit of time on these Pacers and Knicks. I just want to say, Indiana Pacers, you should be ashamed of yourself. Well, you shouldn't be, but you cannot flaunt around and act like you did something. First round, Giannis Antetokounmpo out. Damian Lillard out. I mean, they had Bobby Portis out there.
Acapulco?
Yeah. Bobby Portis out there was having to give him 40 a game. Chris Middleton had to give him 40 a game, and they lost. So you didn't do much there, Indiana. You didn't do much, okay? The next series, Josh Hart, a little bit hurt. DiVincenzo banged up. Brunson's been banged up a while. Okay? You might win the series, and they got a good chance to win the series. But at the end of the day, I'm getting annoyed by Indiana. It's nothing they've done wrong. Okay? Their playoff atmosphere is great. They're one of the few crowds left in the playoffs that does the everybody wear the same. They wear gold, and it's great. Right? But this is not an Eastern Conference Finals team. This is one of the weakest Eastern Conference Finals teams, if they make it, I've seen in a long time. Of course, Pascal Siakam and Tyrese Halliburton, they're fine, right? But they have not had a challenge yet. if you take the current rosters of Milwaukee and New York with the injuries, does any of those teams make the playoffs? Like if you play a whole 82-game season?
What was your question?
If you take Milwaukee without Dame and Giannis, do they make the playoffs?
No.
82 games.
No.
If you take the Knicks without Brunson can
already without
Brunson can only play because he's been in and out. Brunson can only play 40 games a season. Josh Hart can only play 60 games a season. Do the Knicks make the playoffs?
I think it'd be close.
It'd be close. So
because they have a better supporting cast around them than the Bucks do. But,
yes,
I mean it'd be close.
They're not playing
DiVincenzo and
DiVincenzo.
Yeah, I don't
DiVincenzo. They're not playing any teams.
DiVincenzo. Yeah,
not DiVincenzo.
DiVincenzo.
They're not playing any teams that is a caliber that they should be rewarded for right now. They're also a team that I don't pay much attention to. They're the freaking Pacers. They're in the middle of nowhere.
They're in Indiana for crying out loud.
I mean, I'm interested about Indiana tonight, and it's because of the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark as she makes her WNBA debut. Biggest thing happen in Indianapolis. Also, the Indy 500 soon. So, speaking of the Indy 500, they have 9 qualified. That's not Indy.
Max
It's
Verstappen.
not Indy at all. That is not. Max Verstappen did win the Indy 500? He sucks. They qualified a whole week before, and they have 11 practices. I mean, they're there this week, and the race is in 2.5 weeks, and they're just there practicing. Practice. We talk about practice. They run way more miles in practice than they would in the race. They have 7 or 8 practices. It's crazy.
That's insane.
All right, so
they'd triple the amount of laps they're doing in their actual race.
They run 3,000 miles in practice and run 500 miles in the race. Anyway,
that is crazy.
Timberwolves Nuggets. What a series it's been. One of the all-time series. And the NBA has been searching for a long time, and this is why I think the NBA has fallen off.
Happened the day before you actually go to race for the Indy 500, you wreck. And
Kyle Larson's racing.
You've been there.
What? Kyle Larson is in the Indy 500. He's got a good chance too.
Okay.
And then he's going to go race the Coke 600 the same night in Charlotte.
That's insane.
1,100 miles.
What's gonna suck is if you're practicing all those days the day before the race, you go, let me get one more practice and you crash into the wall. Your car's gone. You've been there for 2.5 weeks. They have a backup car. I mean, yeah, obviously, but then you have to go through all the re-certifications and shit like that.
Anyway,
to make sure you're actually up to date.
This Nuggets Wolves series, I don't know if it is like it.
God, Kyle Larson going from Indy to Charlotte.
But it could potentially form into a riverry for.
When does the Indy 500 end?
3:00.
And then when does the show?
No, Indy 500 is probably over around 3:00, but then you got to do other stuff.
Well, then there's a
Coke 600 starts at 6.
Is Indy's in our time zone? Indiana? No.
Yeah,
I think they might be an hour behind. Yeah,
it's central.
So they're an hour
he
behind.
loses an hour.
So it'll be 4:00.
There's been other drivers to do it. Kurt Busch did it. Danica Patrick did it a while ago, but they get there say the race is at 6. They get there. They have the helicopter at 5:47, and they're dropping in. Sometimes they get penalized because they didn't go to the driver meeting or whatever. So, Kevin Harvick's driving Larson's car in the All-Star practice.
When? That is okay.
Anyway,
Kevin Harvick coming out of retirement.
Nuggets Timberwolves.
You know, at that point, why don't we just
practice?
Why don't we just have Richard Petty come out of retirement?
Nuggets and Wolves, and I think the main reason the NBA is kind of, at least for me, it doesn't have many rivalries, right? And hopefully this could become a rivalry, but you can't really artificialize a rivalry if that makes sense, right? You can't just force the Chiefs.
You can't just say
you can't just force the Chiefs and Bengals to be a rivalry. You have to have the history. You have to have the Bengals calling it Burrowhead.
The Steelers and Ravens. You got to have a long history. Well, actually, hold on, Steelers.
So in the
that's not even a good example.
Different
I don't know rivalry.
Eagles Cowboys.
Yeah, there because that goes back to the 80s and 70s.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I think the NBA is lacking because there's so many different variables. We haven't had a dominant team since Golden State. We've had one-off champions, which is good for parity, but at some point,
the Cavs were okay. Yeah,
since Golden State.
Yeah.
So since 2019, there's been different champions. So
You're actually forgetting about the 2020 Lakers.
It's tough to kind of
the bubble.
It's tough to kind of see teams meeting back in these playoffs. And Denver and Minnesota played last year. But Anthony Edwards, listen, I was not too big on the guy, right? I was big on him, but like people were saying top 5 player in the league and whatnot. I didn't really sit down.
MJ's son is all that.
I didn't really sit down and watch Minnesota. I watched him when he scored 44 the other night. Guy's fun. Guy's real fun to watch. He's so twitchy that he's just like, we don't see it. Like, because I watch a lot of Mavs games, of course. Luka, it's a cool play style, but he's slow. Anthony Edwards, he's just fast. Like, he can play receiver in the NFL. Like, just quick. And it reminds me of John Morant that just anytime he goes to the lane,
hopefully not the off-field issues.
Off court.
Yeah, but speaking of that, playing like an NFL. Who would be better, an NFL player in the NBA or an NBA player in the NFL? I've seen that going all the time. I personally think it's an NBA player in the NFL.
Yes.
Like,
I mean, there's
line LeBron up at tight end. The guy's 6'9".
Yeah. There's some like I don't know. I've obviously Myles Garrett played in the Browns in the G League.
Yeah.
Or played in the
some NFL players would be good NBA players, but I feel like there's just more NBA players that would be better in football.
Yeah, I don't know. Also with the NBA, maybe it's just because I'm not good at basketball. You see a guy at the park or something that's like so good, and he's not even close to the NBA. You see somebody in football that's so good, like he has a good shot playing high level, like,
or at least going to play D2 or D1.
Yeah,
or any type of college.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think anybody's just like would be a Hall of Famer in both. Like you can't just.
I could see Lamar Jackson being a deadly point guard. Not gonna lie, I could see Lamar with the weirdest shooting form ever, and just draining everything. Like every time he throws, it's always like a 3/4 arm slot.
So
I can only imagine his shooting form would probably be like a.
So with Denver, they were down 2-0. Minnesota won both games in Denver. Everybody was writing them off. But something you got to realize, the champ does not go away easy. The MVP does not go away easy. I know there's some other guys that would, submit and whatnot. Joel Embiid comes to mind. But when you're dealing with Nikola Jokic, a 3-time MVP and a 1-time champion, it is just... It's
amazing.
It's like when you're playing against Tom Brady in an NFL game. You're up pretty good, but it's never over till it's over.
It's like when you're leading 28-3 in a Super Bowl, and then Thomas Edward Brady comes out.
So that's what it feels like when you're going against Jokic. Again, he's not flashy. He had a very calm 32-7-7. And Minnesota, they got to give the ball to Anthony Edwards more. Mike Conley brings the ball up every time. Like, what are we doing? Mike Conley bring the ball up. And Minnesota's got a well-rounded team, 5 starters that go really deep. Denver was on their... Denver is just... They're the best circus-making shot team ever. Especially Jokic, but like anytime Minnesota...
Jokic, after you played... how much? You have 30 seconds on it. 23.9 seconds of expert defense.
Yeah. But Denver was, anytime Minnesota got on a run, Denver came back and hit 2 consecutive threes. They're so tough to beat. If Jokic can win a title this year, top 10 all time?
He'd have 3 titles.
No, two titles, 3 MVPs. Top 10 all time?
Wait, has he had, did he win Finals MVP last year?
Yeah.
Okay, so he probably would get 2 Finals MVP.
Top 10 all time?
I feel like he'd be right at 9 or 10.
I would think he'd sniff the top 10. You look on that border.
Okay, so number 1, you think MJ.
Let's go.
LeBron.
Okay.
MJ, LeBron, interchangeable 1 and 2. 3.
No order here, folks. No order. Jordan, LeBron, Kareem, Tim Duncan, Magic Johnson. Those are clear 5.
And then
Bird.
Steph's in there.
No. Shut the hell up.
Okay.
Bird, Kobe. I say Magic?
Yeah.
Bird and Kobe is 7. Wilt is pretty comfortably in there. Okay.
Steph is definitely
I'm missing somebody. I think Bill Russell would be in the top 10.
Steph is definitely at 10 if you haven't named him.
Shaq would be in there at 10. Hakeem would be 11. Steph would be 12. I would say Kevin Durant 13. And then Jokic is around that area.
So Jokic would be 15 then.
But winning a championship, it's different. I think the reason why I say Steph's not top 10 all time, every player on that list has at least one all-defensive team. Steph Curry has 0. He's never made an all-defensive team.
All-defensive team?
Yeah.
What the fuck does that mean? The hell?
Could pretend he didn't say that. All-defensive team. You're an all-defensive player. I don't know how much...
Is that not just a defensive player of the year?
Yeah, but there's a whole team for it, like an all-NBA team. Yeah, you're stupid. You're retarded.
Yeah, I don't know.
You are retarded. About. Don't even talk ball again. Try to see if I missed the player. I feel like I might have. But anyway. Yeah, speaking of Jokic, he's so meh, right? He's just so, like, nobody's like, man, I can't wait to watch Jokic. And the most exciting part of his game is his passing. Most exciting part of his game is his passing. And I don't know what Denver or Minnesota was thinking. They started doubling Jokic. Which, if you double Jokic, say he's at the top, you double him. You're playing now 4-on-3. And when you got Jokic, maybe the best passer in the league, good night. Good night.
Jokic reminds me of Jason Williams, not gonna lie.
Maybe passing, but nothing else. Literally nothing
else.
Yeah,
literally. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay. The Boston Celtics, right? These Celtics are up 3-1. They're going to go back to the Eastern Conference Finals for whatever year in a row.
And no finals to show for it.
Does anybody give them trouble in the East? Anybody?
I feel if there's any team, it would probably be the Knicks if they're healthy.
Yeah, but I still...
And that's kind of a little bit of a long shot. The only real trouble to get is in the finals.
Which Boston's is so good this year, and it just shows how good they are that they're 7-2 in the playoffs. People are kind of pretty surprised that they weren't able to put Miami away in 4 or Cleveland, right? That they're up 3-1 in the East in the second round. They haven't struggled at all, and people are kind of feeling this is an underwhelming postseason.
Well, what was the score of the game where Cleveland won against Boston?
They blew them out.
Oh,
so
reasoning? They just
was
the Celtics having an off night?
It's a make or miss league.
Yeah, so the Celtics had an off night.
I don't know. Speaking of Boston, let's get into this debate
From Boston.
Who has the brighter future? And I think these teams are probably pretty close at the top of brighter future. Boston or Oklahoma City. And I want to clear something up. Future consists of also now. The future is the finals. That's the future. And we're in the future. I think so many times we think of who's got the best future. Like if I ask you right now who's got a better future, Chiefs or Texans, you say the Texans. But because they were worse, the Chiefs' future in the next 5 years is still way better than the Texans. The Texans are just...
But there's the other 10 years.
There's a lot difference of up and coming, already at the top. So, brighter future, Celtics or Thunder. Who are you picking and why?
Thunder. Granted, they're already making playoffs right now.
You're picking them because of the element granite.
I'm not talking about the stone.
I go with the Oklahoma City Thunder because granite hardwood carry.
No. But okay. So they're already making playoffs. They're already probably gonna make the Western Conference.
No, they're not. No, they're not. They're not beating my Mavs.
Let me know when Luka scores more than 30 against them.
Tomorrow night. Go on, young Squire.
On top of already having a young team.
On top.
They have 5 first-round picks in the next 3 years. Granted, that could be busts. Who knows? But if you miss on 5 first-round picks, that's saying a
lot. They have a pedophile on my team.
Can he ball?
No.
Exactly. So then kick him off the team. Nobody cares. You could replace him.
He's a pedophile, though.
Karl Malone could ball.
No,
guess what? He was a pedophile.
Karl Malone's a lot better than Josh Giddey.
I know. But, all right. So on top of having already young team, already making it to playoffs, already having good records and everything, you get more draft picks on top of that. Mm-hmm. Sure, the Celtics, have good 5 years coming up. Who's to say that they win a championship in those 5 years?
Me.
Okay. Nobody cares.
Okay.
They could win probably 3 championships in the next 5 years. OKC is winning probably 5 in the next 15.
No,
I'm kidding. They're winning probably 3 in the next 15.
Listen, I'll tell you why it's Boston. There is a difference between trajectory and results. Okay? Oklahoma City, they all have this great trajectory. They're going to be great in a couple years. But they haven't gotten there yet. This is the farthest they've been.
I mean, the Celtics are projected to win the finals every year. Their reality is falling short of that.
So with Boston, they've already accomplished way more in the past. And with a good
we're talking about the future. We're talking about the future.
But you base the future off the past. You base the future off the past and trends. So the Houston Texans, I'll give you an example from 2019. They had an amazing young quarterback in Deshaun Watson.
Pedophile.
Top 5 receiver in DeAndre Hopkins. J.J. Watt was still good. We'd expect them to be a very bright future. And if you come back to present day, they have probably the brightest future in the league. Mm-hmm. But the team's not even remotely the same. So you can go through changes.
Became a pedophile, and then
DeAndre Hopkins got traded.
Kind of old.
DeAndre Hopkins traded. The stuff happening with Watson. I'm not saying at all Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is going to rape some women.
Okay.
But
stop. Maybe
Houston did not get a haul. They got David Johnson and
then like 2 first-round picks.
A second, which they took Barmore or somebody.
Okay, never mind. They didn't get a haul.
They did not get a haul.
It didn't matter for them anyways. They're in a better spot now than the Cardinals will probably be in 5 years.
So I'll take the stable organization that has been there for the last couple of years. And let's not act like Boston does not have a great future. I understand they're older, but Jason Tatum's 25 years old.
He's only 19.
He's only 19, but he's 25, 26. He'll still produce. I'll take Jason Tatum all day over Shea Gilgeous-Alexander for the future. And I think the second guy of Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Kristaps Porzingis, and the Boston name, I think will take Boston higher than OKC. There's a difference between future and what has happened, right? And I think I'll take what has happened in Boston.
That's definitely the wrong spelling.
With what has happened over the last couple of years, I know what the Celtics are. Which they haven't got to the finals, or they haven't won the finals just yet. But they still have a young team. And the experience that they have in the playoffs is unmatched. Jason Tatum's in the top 5 of most games played in the playoffs actively. He's 26 years old. So, Boston, I understand Oklahoma City. There's a difference, again, between projection and execution. Okay? Boston has executed it in the past. I have faith they'll execute it in the future. I want to execute you because I'm in favor of execution. But I just don't.
The whole team needs to be executed.
I love the reporter's face. Yeah.
Excuse me.
I will take Boston Celtics.
All right, so we already did that.
Speaking of future.
We already did that.
Speaking of future, let's talk about Luka Doncic El Matador versus Anthony, I'm from Atlanta, Edwards. I'm not from Atlanta, but I just want to say that. Luka or Anthony Edwards, let's say the next 5 years, the next 5 of those years. Luka or Anthony Edwards?
Anthony Edwards, he's got a better supporting cast. Okay.
I asked for the player. What player would you rather?
Including playoffs. Or just regular season.
Who would you want for the next 5 years?
I myself would choose Anthony Edwards.
Okay, why?
A staple in the NBA. Because he is MJ's son.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great freaking call. That's why, because he's MJ's son. Yeah, sure. I'll still take Luka. We need to stop overreacting.
Average Mavericks fan.
It takes 10 games. I ask you this at the end of the regular season, who are you picking? Luka, by a lot.
Probably Ant.
At the end of the regular season, when Luka's coming off averaging, when he's coming off averaging 34, 9, and 9, really it's been 10 games, okay, in the playoffs. Anthony Edwards has been great, but it's been 10 games. Okay, so let's calm down. Let's get off your horse. You're riding a little bit too fast. Luka Doncic is still better. He's still the most valuable asset in the NBA.
Next year, Anthony Edwards will be better than Luka. Anthony Edwards is winning MVP next year.
No.
Yep.
Not a...
Right now, mark it. The date of 5... Okay, hold on. Let's get the date. 5/14 of 2024 at 4:42 in the afternoon. Anthony Edwards will win the 2024-2025 NBA MVP.
He will not, because I will kill him.
What?
All right, let's get into some NFL to figure out for the next about 10 minutes here. Jared Goff got a huge contract, 4 years, $212 million. That's over $50 million a year. And the Lord and Savior himself, he died on the cross to save all Lions fans. Jared Goff is back in the D. And
Jared Goff.
Over 50,
Jared Goff.
Over 50 million. Listen, my usual stance on this is it's a lot of money, but that's the market. Not this time. Jared Goff got way too much money. He is closer to Derek Carr than he is to Jalen Hurts.
Is that skin color? Excuse me?
Let me retract on that. He's closer to Derek Carr than he is to Joe Burrow.
All right, there you go.
Okay.
We want these lunch pail type of guys. We want this, let your daughter date type of guys.
So I would give him about $42 million. $51 million. Detroit now goes from, man, they got a nice young team, blah blah blah. They don't have much problems. You got $52 million at quarterback, which it automatically reduces your rate of winning. But the good thing for Detroit, they got a lot of young guys that won't have contracts for a while. But you look at it on one side, Amon-Ra and Goff for the next 4 years. They lock them up, and that'll be a great duo. And they'll be in the playoffs basically every time. But I think 4 years, $212 million for a guy that has just been fed an amazing offense. I mean, Jared Goff's been okay. He's been good. But are we going to not?
I mean, he didn't have a great offense when he went to the Super Bowl in 2019. It was him, Brandon.
But
Who was it?
Robert
Brandon
Woods,
Cooks or
Cooper
Robert
Kupp,
Woods?
Todd Gurley. Yeah.
Cooper Kupp was not that good yet.
He was a top 30 receiver in the league.
Oh, yeah, there's only 32 teams.
They also had an elite defense. He also only had to score 14 points and he won a Super Bowl. What? If he would have scored 14, they would have won by a point.
Okay.
So
look at Joe Burr.
You're also using moments that happened from the Trump administration to make your claim. Like, that's so long ago.
So we're bringing in politics now.
No, I'm saying I'm using it as a time frame. You're bringing up something that happened in the Trump administration. Like it has,
I mean, you talked about the last time the Mavs won a finals, which was during the Obama administration.
But I said that this is their best chance since. It has nothing to do with it. It's not the same team.
Oh, so we're bringing in politics now.
Oh my God.
Okay. Can you continue on with your spiel of Jared
I was going to
Goff,
say
please?
about Jared Goff. Let's not act like he did not have last year the best running back room in the world, the best offensive line, top 5 tight end, top 5 receiver, great supporting cast. He was fed to this team by a spoon, right? Just yum, 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 yum. I'm tired of getting a taste of it. I want the whole load, is what Jared Goff was saying the whole time. Okay?
I want half a mouthful.
And he got to the conference finals, NFC championship game. And the Lions fans, I understand, they haven't won games for 60 years, okay? They make one NFC championship game. They think all hell broke loose in Detroit, okay? I got a wake-up call.
Usually all hell does break loose in Detroit. I mean,
a wake-up call for you Lions fans. $52 million is about $15 million more than I would spend on Jared Goff. You will not win the division for the next 4 years. That's a lie. They'll win the division this year and next year.
Win the division for the next.
You said you had a
5
spiel about
years.
Jared Goff.
No, I said you had your spiel. I said continue.
Oh.
My spiel is literally they shouldn't have paid him as much as they did. Yeah, give him your contract extension, but it should have been around $40 million a year, if that. I mean, granted, there's the ups of him. I mean, he's usually always healthy. He is a great pocket presence quarterback.
He's a game manager.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, he's been a game manager
I don't think they should have paid him as much as they did. It's a little bit of an overpay. Yeah, give him the extension, obviously, duh. But if anything, it should have been around $40 million a year.
Listen, there's really no difference between Jared Goff and Kirk Cousins. The only thing is, when Kirk Cousins was in Minnesota,
everybody looks at
nobody saw him as a franchise guy who can win a Super Bowl. They think about Jared Goff.
Just say this because Jared Goff isn't flashy. It's like Jokic. They're like, oh, he should win an MVP. Well, he's got good numbers. Jared Goff has decent numbers, at least, I guess.
Jared Goff should have been MVP?
No. He has good numbers, though.
He does.
He's just not flashy.
Kirk Cousins
he's not
had
like
good
a Lamar. He's
Derek
not a
Carr
Jalen
had great
Hurts.
numbers.
He's
None
not
of
a...
Oh, all right. Our final topic of the day. And I wrote this down, a little bit of a sad moment as a Vikings fan. Jordan Love or Kirk Cousins? Excuse me. I was going to get on here to defend Kirk Cousins because he plays for the Vikings. No, he doesn't. He plays for the Falcons now. Kirko Chains has gone Hollywood on us. First off, he's wearing number 18, which is disgusting. You're going to tear your Achilles
Kyle
again.
Pitts said, give me more receptions. He said,
no.
Fuck no, and went to number 18.
So, next year, 2024-2025, Jordan Love or Kirk Cousins, who would you rather have on your team?
Dude, this feels like such a... Like, whoever I pick, it's just going to go the opposite way. If both stay healthy, I'm probably going with Kirk with the slightest sliver. Slightest. Actually, no. If anything, I'd go with Jordan Love. He's got so much team chemistry. He's played already a year with these guys.
I'll tell you why it's Jordan Love. Nobody down the stretch. If we would have taken MVP from week 10 on, Jordan Love's undisputed MVP.
Yes.
18 touchdowns, 1 interception. Okay? So do you think that matters? Like, okay. We look at teams. We're not looking at...
What was Kirk's stats after week 10?
Shut up. We're not looking at teams and players based on how well they did weeks 1, 2, and 3. It's all about what you do when it matters most. Jordan Love walked into Dallas.
The Vikings don't know.
Walked into Dallas and handed him a big dub L. Okay?
Big dub L.
If Anders Carlson's not the worst kicker ever, the Packers are in the NFC Championship game. Okay? 18 touchdowns, 1 interception, with basically no receivers. He has the youngest team in the NFL. I don't know if it's changed since the draft because everybody, of course, got a year older. But he has the youngest team in the NFL. And like I said with Oklahoma City and the NBA, when everybody's young and everybody's getting better, that's huge, right? So every part of this receiving core is going to get better, and I think Jordan Love is poised in for. Of course, there's the favorites to win NFL MVP: Joe Burrow, C.J. Stroud, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. Outside of those four, I'll even take Jordan Love over a Joe Burrow or something like that. So, yeah. So I think it's easily for me Jordan Love. I think this is a 35 touchdown, 5 pick season. And Green Bay, again, they've got it again. But Kirk Cousins, he's going to have a solid enough year with the weapons he had. But, I mean, if you look at Kirk Cousins and say, man, he's going to be great because he has weapons. Not as good as last year. So if you weren't excited about Kirk in Minnesota, you can't be excited about him in Atlanta because the weapons are worse. He doesn't have nearly a player the caliber of Justin Jefferson or T.J. Hawkinson in the receiving game or Jordan Addison or Aaron Jones. Of course, they have Bijan Robinson, but you look at all the weapons in totality, it ain't there, right? So you cannot be excited about Kirk this year and not, have liked him in Minnesota. So that's it. That's our closing thoughts of the day.
We're not going over any NFL games?
Oh, the NFL schedule. We can talk about that for a little bit.
The Chiefs and Ravens, a beautiful opening week.
Yeah, beautiful, nice opening weekend. I like that they did this. Because this is a dickhead move by the NFL.
Oh, yeah, it 1,000% is.
But I love it. That the Baltimore Ravens have to watch the Kansas City Chiefs unveil their banner, get their rings. Guess who they beat in the AFC Championship to get to that moment? The Ravens. So it's going to be a feisty game. There's going to be some penalties. The Chiefs are going to be talking about their rings all throughout the game.
Maybe if Travis Kelce doesn't get the best luck I've ever seen in my life.
Kansas City did not win last year against Detroit. They kind of start out a little bit slow. It'll be a good game. And then week 2, they take on Cincinnati. So those are 2 big games.
I hope they start at 0-2.
Doesn't matter. They could make the playoffs at 8-9.
Yeah, probably. They play in the AFC West, the weakest division in the NFL.
I don't know about that.
Chargers is like their only competition. The fuck? The hell are you talking? The Chargers is probably their toughest competition. Chargers are gonna go 6-11 this year.
Not with old Harvey.
Oh, you see they have the Ravens and Chargers playing on Thanksgiving.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, they have that. It's another Harbaugh Bowl.
So when we come back here next week, we'll have the full schedule, which we can talk about if we want. I know the Vikings are playing in London this year, which we'll see how that goes. We did this last week, and we'll see if we can do it this week as well.
Who the Eagles play in Brazil?
Packers,
yeah.
Who is going to be the person of the week? Who was the person of the week last week? Of all sports. Person of the week.
Probably would have to say Anthony Edwards.
That's going to be my pick as well. Pretty good. Who will be the person of the week next week? I think it will be Jalen Brunson when he has 43 points in Game 7. The Knicks move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. That is my prediction of the week. Jalen Brunson will be the person of the week in sports. Who do you think for next week? Caitlin Clark?
No, I don't think there's enough of that.
Forget women. Playing basketball.
Where's my sandwich? Person of the week next week. We'll go with probably Jokic.
Jokic is a person of the week as you expect the Nuggets to win the series now.
Yeah. They are coming back hot.
Pause. That'll do it for this episode of Talkin Bout Balls. We'll be back next week to talk about whatever we want to.